Alright guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about why it is completely essential that you are a contrarian investor in the stock market. You guys can see in my portfolio right now, I'm currently invested in SpaceX, Celsius, Netflix, and Roblox. Some of those might seem random, but they are all contrarian investments. SpaceX, I initially bought at the IPO. I bought in the 150s and the 170s, and then a vast majority I bought in the 110s and lower. So my current cost average on my 210 shares is 129 and some change. And the reason I was able to get it so low is because despite what I wanted to do, if I were trading and investing off of emotions, I would have full ported at 150 because at the time that seemed like as low as it could go. But I stayed disciplined and I continued to dollar cost average the way down. And yeah, at one point I was down 4,500 bucks, and today you can see that I got it as high as 4,000 up on the position. I ended the day at about 3,600, but no complaints at all. You can see in my overall portfolio, I rebounded from erasing all of my gains over the past year and a half to now reaching all-time highs just a week and a half later. And that is entirely because of patience and because of conviction. When you're into a stock in the stock market, if you're invested, you need to know why you're buying it before you buy it, because otherwise you're going to sell as soon as it starts to look bad. Your investment thesis can't be based on short-term price action. It has to be based on fundamentals, sentiment, and what you believe the stock is going to do in the future, what the company is going to do in the future. To me, SpaceX is a complete no-brainer. Besides what the company's doing, because everybody knows what the company's doing for the most part. If you don't, leave a comment and I can definitely do a breakdown video on why as a company it's a no-brainer to me. But two things that are super simple, in my opinion, that make it such an obvious buy are: one, the PE ratio is 200 less than Tesla. And I just want to explain this for a second. Tesla's PE ratio is around 350. SpaceX is around 160 to 170, depending on the day you're watching this. And SpaceX owns all of the AI and the software that Tesla is built off of. Not only that, SpaceX is growing much faster than Tesla, and the sector that they're in is a lot more profitable. So, and obviously, most of the business verticals that SpaceX is involved in right now are not profitable for them, but it's really easy to foresee them becoming profitable very soon. And with AI, there's going to be so many verticals to make money off of that we can't even imagine yet. And a lot of things that we can imagine seem too distant, but I can promise you that they will come faster than we expect. Now, honestly, the only bear case I have for SpaceX is one of two things: either government overregulation or Elon dying. And I have trust that Elon's being protected by security, so that's not really a fear of mine. My only real fear is that the administration after the current administration is more restrictive on AI, both physical and digital, and that'll be a hindrance to SpaceX. It's really hard to see that happening though, because of their dependence on SpaceX for NASA, for telecommunications with Starshield. Yeah, their involvement with the Space Force. Everybody depends on SpaceX, and now their compute is being rented out to other companies. Celsius, Netflix, and Roblox are all reversal plays. So Roblox is facing what is definitely the worst PR that a company could ever have, which is that it's being called a safe haven for predators. And that, to me, that's a problem that is so easy to solve. It's really a problem of management, because the management of Roblox doesn't seem to care. And obviously that's a huge problem. But I think as Roblox starts to see a decline in revenue because of a decline in player base, I think that they're going to switch that up. I don't see that being a long-term issue, just because it's such an obvious one and it's caused so much backlash. I think they're going to fix that. Now, that's one of the loftier assumptions. But Roblox peaked in 2025 at around $140. It's currently trading at between 35 and 38 depending on the day. So to me, that has so much room for reversal. Netflix is one that I think actually is sort of threatened by AI. Piracy is already an issue, but it's been an issue for so long that normal piracy isn't really a concern of mine. I think that's already baked into the price, regardless of how AI is involved with that. But something that Netflix needs to stay ahead of is algorithmic video creation on demand, because it's very easy to see that pretty soon movies are going to be algorithmically created as you're watching them, because they could totally develop a device of some sort or sensors in whatever you're watching to detect your current biometrics, tell what you're feeling, and be able to develop a story that would keep you the most engaged. And that might sound extreme, but there are a lot of things that used to sound extreme that are now extremely normal to us. So I don't think that it is a safe assumption to assume that won't happen, because it certainly will. Celsius, I have kind of a funnier thesis on, and I've told a couple people this and they just roll their eyes at me. But honestly, I think that it's a very simple thesis, but I think that it's one that people should really consider, and it's the demographics that consume different energy drinks. So obviously I work in construction, I'm an electrician, and anybody that works in construction will tell you that the number one energy drink that everyone drinks is the White Monster. But I think that based on information I've consumed on the internet, so I can't say this firsthand because I don't have a white collar job, I can't tell you for sure, but I can tell you that in high school, Celsius was by far the most popular, and I assume that it's the same for a lot of white collar workers. And so this is my thesis. White collar workers are going to become blue collar workers because of AI, meaning that they're going to lose their jobs and become blue collar workers because it makes as much money as they were making, if not more. And then those white collar workers are going to drink more Celsius instead of sleeping, because nobody is good at keeping a good sleep schedule. And so a lot of people replace that with coffee and energy drinks. I think second place as far as caffeine replacing sleep is definitely Dunkin'. If I could, I would totally own stock in Dunkin' Donuts, but it's owned by a company that I don't remember if they're private or an ADR. Regardless, I don't buy ADRs and I don't buy private equity, so it's not something that interests me. But I think as far as, if we're talking about a revolution in the way that we use energy, and energy being the most valuable resource, there's technological energy and there's human energy. And a lot of human energy nowadays comes from energy drinks. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve on human energy, the two things are definitely Celsius and Dunkin'. If you know a way to invest in Dunkin', I highly recommend it. Starbucks is not it. It is not it anymore. But yeah, that being said, I believe that covers really the reasoning for all of my current investments. I just want to reiterate, guys, if you believe in a company, then you better be willing to stick with it through the bottom, and you better be buying at the bottom, because that's your opportunity to get a better position in what you already believe is going to go up. And also, don't forget that fundamentals are only a part of the equation. Sentiment is a lot more important than a lot of Wall Street analysts would like to give it credit for. Sentiment is what's driven Tesla to the price that it's at now. And my investment in SpaceX is a reflection on a lesson that I learned during the 2025 tariff bottom. I was a really strong believer, and still am, honestly, but I've learned the power of sentiment, that Tesla does not deserve to be anywhere near the price that it's at, and it doesn't deserve the PE ratio that it has. A PE ratio of 350 for a company that's performing the way that Tesla is I would think that a PE ratio from like 70 to 100 would be more appropriate, you know, even for people that are Elon bulls, and I am one. But Tesla just really hasn't panned out the way that I think that he expected and a lot of his investors have. Something that I learned is that sentiment drives stock price a lot more than fundamentals will. And I watched Tesla stock go from 220 to 480 in the span of like 3 months. And I was confused, like, how could this possibly be the case? And I didn't understand the power of the Tesla shareholder base and how committed they were to seeing his plans, you know, fulfill themselves. And so while I also believe that the fundamentals and the business verticals that SpaceX has are a million times better than Tesla, I also am not willing to let the valuation scare me off from being an investor, because I see it as being simple math when you compare the PE ratios between the two companies. So that brings me to what my investing plan is going forward. If SpaceX experiences another dip, I'm just going to keep buying into it. Really, any shares under 125, I'm going to be trying to buy as many as I can. And I'm going to also be adding a lot to my Netflix and Roblox positions, because I'm pretty happy with where my Celsius position is at now. It's about 10%. I want to bring it down to about 5% as I add more principal to my account. And I'll continue to research other companies, but one thing I will not do is I'm not going to jump into anything that I don't understand. And so right now, the portfolio is only 4 companies. And it might stay that way until I see another opportunity, but I only allocate my money to what I see the best opportunities as. And as of now, I only know of 4 of them. So if you guys have any stock recommendations that you guys want to send to me, you can definitely leave those in the comments section. And I am going to update you as I continue on my investment journey. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.